A moment that changed everything. Where are my parents? I haven't seen them in days. That was the question my mother asked me one quiet morning. The problem. Her parents had passed away over 40 years ago. I froze. Do I tell her the truth? Do I lie? Do I say nothing? That moment changed everything. It made me realize I couldn't force her to live in my reality. I had to learn to enter hers. If you're caring for someone with dementia, you're not alone. This video will walk you through 5 powerful, compassionate steps to truly connect with their world. And it starts with listening. Discover where they are today. My mother had been retired for over 2 decades. She used to love her job as a librarian, but it had long since become just a memory, at least for me. One morning, she walked into the living room, clutching her purse with urgency in her eyes. "I'm going to be late," she said. "The library opens at 9, and I haven't even had breakfast." I almost said, "Mom, you haven't worked in 20 years. But something in her tone, the sincerity, the anxiety stopped me. I took a breath, sat down beside her, and asked, "What's on the agenda at the library today?" That moment taught me something profound. With dementia, reality isn't fixed. It shifts and sways like waves on a beach. Yesterday, she was visiting her sister. Today, she's a working woman again. Tomorrow, she might be a young mother. Trying to anchor her to my reality only causes pain. Instead, I needed to find where she was. Listening is the first and perhaps most crucial step. We often assume we know our loved ones so well. We finish their sentences, we predict their thoughts. But dementia rewrites the script daily. If we rush in with facts or corrections, we might miss the emotional truths underneath. So how do we really listen? Pay attention to the names they mention. Who are they asking about? A father, a childhood friend that tells you what time period they might be in. Notice their body language. Are they anxious? Do they seem excited? Do they ask about long-gone pets or bring up places they haven't visited in decades? Sometimes the clues are subtle. A woman brushing her hair carefully might be preparing for a date she believes is happening that evening. A man sitting silently in a jacket could be waiting for a bus he used to take to work. If we're too focused on explaining what's real, we miss what's true for them. Why did my retired mom insist she was late for work? Because in her world, that day she was. And it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't confusion. It was her current truth. When we listen deeply, without correcting, without rushing, we offer something powerful dignity. We say, "I see you right where you are." Listening doesn't require answers. It requires presence. A warm smile, a nod, a gentle question. These small acts tell your loved one that their voice still matters, their world still has value, and they are not alone in it. Tomorrow, their world may change again, but today you can meet them where they are, and that is a gift beyond words. Legitimize, don't fight the fire. Sit beside it. It was a sunny afternoon when my uncle stormed into the kitchen, visibly upset. "They took it," he said, voice trembling. "The neighbors took my radio, the one I kept on the porch." Now I knew the truth. The radio had broken months ago and had been thrown out, but to him that radio and its disappearance were very real. I had a choice: correct him and risk escalating his fear and confusion, or I could do something simpler, something softer. I sat down beside him and said, "That's terrible. Let's go take a look and see if it's still there." Maybe we can ask around. His shoulders relaxed. He nodded, and just like that, the fire inside him calmed. Legitimizing doesn't mean you have to lie. It means you honor their emotional truth. When someone with dementia tells you something that doesn't align with our shared reality, pause and look deeper. What are they really saying? If someone insists a friend is angry with them, maybe they're feeling guilt or fear of abandonment. If they say they need to pick up their child from school, maybe they're missing a sense of responsibility or routine. What if one sentence could bring them peace for hours? That sentence might be as simple as, "I understand. Let's figure it out together." Legitimizing creates a bridge between their world and ours. It says, "I respect what you're feeling, even if I don't fully understand it." It removes the battle of right versus wrong and replaces it with a moment of shared humanity. Too often, we think of dementia interactions as puzzles to solve, but they're not. They're invitations to connect. My aunt used to believe she still worked at the local diner. She would put on her apron and start organizing napkins. We never stopped her. Instead, we thanked her for helping. She smiled, feeling useful and proud. That's the power of legitimizing. It transforms confusion into comfort. It transforms fear into trust. Next time your loved one says something that sounds off, stop and ask yourself, what do they feel right now? And how can I honor that feeling without correcting the details? Because ultimately, this isn't about truth, it's about love. When we validate their reality, we're not enabling confusion, we're enabling connection. And in the world of dementia, that connection is everything. Lean test the waters with gentle curiosity. One evening, my dad stood by the window, quietly staring outside. "I think I need to go to the train station," he said. "My parents are expecting me." For a moment, I froze. His parents had passed away decades ago. I felt a wave of sadness, and my instinct was to gently correct him, to explain that he didn't need to go anywhere. But then I stopped myself. Instead, I asked softly, "Where are they meeting you?" That simple question changed everything. Leaning into their reality means letting go of the need to fix and embracing the need to feel. You aren't jumping into their world fully yet. That comes later, but you are showing curiosity, gently exploring where they are mentally and emotionally. It's like dipping your toes into a stream before deciding how to cross. Asking one question saved me from breaking his heart. By asking, I gave my dad permission to talk about the people he loved. He spoke about his father's coat, his mother's apple pie, and the train schedule he used to memorize as a boy. In that moment, he wasn't confused. He was comforted. He was home. When a loved one with dementia speaks, they are offering you a fragile thread to follow. Pull gently. Ask open-ended questions like, "What were you planning to do there?" Or, "What do you miss about that place?" Leaning doesn't mean encouraging delusion. It means validating their emotions. It means understanding that to them this moment is as real as anything you've ever felt. And your role is not to erase it, it's to walk beside them. A woman once told me that her husband believed he was late for a business trip. Instead of correcting him, she asked, "Do you need help packing?" He smiled and said, "I already packed, but could you bring my passport?" That exchange gave him confidence, purpose, and peace. She leaned into his world just enough to preserve his dignity and soothe his spirit. Too often, we react from a place of fear that they will get worse, fear that we are enabling something unhealthy. But dementia isn't a problem to solve. It's a journey to accompany. Leaning in helps us learn where they are in their memory. It also helps us avoid missteps. If we ask a question and they suddenly say, "Oh, I was just thinking about them," then we know they're reflecting, not lost. But if they respond with urgency, we know their reality is rooted in a different time, and we can prepare to enter it more deeply. The beauty of this step is that it preserves trust. Your loved one doesn't feel rejected or dismissed. They feel heard, and in a world that often confuses and isolates them, being heard can mean everything. So the next time your loved one says something that surprises you, pause, take a breath, and lean in. You might just find that what they need isn't correction, it's connection. You're not agreeing with a fantasy, you're honoring a feeling. And that feeling is the bridge that brings you both closer together. Leap embrace their reality fully. After leaning in, after you've gently explored the landscape of their current world, comes the moment of truth. You leap. One rainy afternoon, my mother walked into the kitchen with her purse and a determined look. "I'm late for my shift at the hospital," she said. My instinct was to tell her it was Sunday, that she hadn't worked in years. But instead, I asked, "Do you want me to drive you there?" She lit up. "Yes, please. They need me." In that moment, she wasn't confused. She was purposeful. She felt needed, important. And by leaping into her reality, I preserved that dignity. Leaping is different from pretending. It's not acting. It's being present, fully, without judgment, without correction. It's the choice to walk into their world and be with them wherever they are. Mini hook. My mom buttoned her blouse, saying, "I can't be late for my shift." I asked, "Want me to drive you?" This is love, not deception. Because love is showing up even in imaginary places. When your loved one believes they're waiting for the school bus, ask what class they're most excited for. If they think they're getting ready for a family reunion, ask who they hope to see first. If they're holding a doll and calling it their baby, ask if the baby needs anything. The details may not be real, but the emotions, they absolutely are. In their world, there's logic, order, memory, just not the one we share. Leaping honors the internal narrative they're living, and more importantly, it preserves your bond. I remember a caregiver who told me her father believed he was still a firefighter. Each morning, he'd check the windows and doors for safety protocols. Instead of stopping him, she started calling him Captain. She even bought him a small red toy fire truck. He smiled every time. That small leap meant everything. This step takes courage. It takes the willingness to let go of your own need for control and correctness. But the reward is trust, peace, and moments of real connection. And here's the secret: once you leap, the fear fades. Because in their smile, their calmness, their joy, you'll see the truth of what you've done. You've met them where they are, and that meeting point, that's where healing begins. So the next time your loved one invites you into a memory, a belief, a different reality, take their hand, step in with them, leap, because sometimes the most beautiful moments come from stories we don't have to understand. We only have to believe together. Learn, evolve with each new day. Some days I got it all wrong. I remember once my mother told me that her parents were coming over for dinner. I laughed and said, "Mom, they've been gone for years." Her face crumpled. She looked away, quiet and hurt. That moment stays with me, not because I was wrong to tell the truth, but because I missed a chance to meet her in love. Learning to care for someone with dementia is not about mastering facts. It's about mastering compassion. I used to cry in the bathroom after making mistakes. Now I breathe and try again. Each interaction is a lesson. Each misstep is an opportunity to grow. You'll say things you regret. You'll lose your patience. You'll feel helpless, even hopeless. But you will also become wiser, more present, more attuned to moments that truly matter. One of the greatest truths I've learned is this: perfection is not required to love someone well. Presence is. I spoke to a caregiver who once told me that she used to beat herself up every time she lost her temper with her husband. He'd ask the same question 10 times in a row, she said, and the 11th time, I snapped. Then I cried for an hour. But over time, she started tracking those moments. She wrote them down, not to shame herself, but to reflect, to learn what triggers to avoid, what responses helped, what calmed him, what made him smile. That journal became her map. Learning is not about never getting it wrong. It's about building a deeper well of patience. It's about returning again and again to kindness. If today you reacted in frustration, tomorrow you can choose gentleness. If today you felt lost, tomorrow you can try a new path. Every day is a reset, and every reset is an act of grace. Some lessons are small, like learning which music soothes them. Others are big, like realizing they may no longer recognize you, but still feel your love. You learn to let go of needing to be seen and find joy in simply seeing them. And here's something remarkable they teach you too. In their vulnerability, they teach us to slow down, to pay attention, to treasure presence over performance. You will stumble, you will cry, and you will grow. Because love in the world of dementia isn't about having all the answers. It's about showing up even when you don't. So take a deep breath. Let yourself learn. You're doing better than you think. And the more you learn, the more love you'll have to give. Caring for someone with dementia is not easy, but you are not failing. You are learning. Let these 5 L's guide you. Listen, legitimize, lean, leap, learn. You're not just entering their world, you're lighting it with love. And in that light, both of you will find comfort, connection, and moments of real joy. If this journey has touched your heart, consider sharing this message with others who may need it. We're all learning, we're all growing, and none of us have to do it alone. If this touched your heart, share it with someone walking the same path. Subscribe for more real emotional support. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.